Hey guys, it's Tony. I am back with my second video diary. They won't all look like this. I won't always be in my office. A lot of times I'll be kind of just sitting at the lake or whatever doing these things. Maybe showing y'all a little bit more of my life. But if you are interested in a little bit more of my life, you can find the link to my vlog channel down in the description. I will tag it. I'm probably going to go from looking at you guys to looking this way because my camera is here, but my mic is here. I've also been sick not sick. My allergies are going crazy. I think everybody's is doing that this year. Before these thoughts left my brain, I wanted to do this YouTube video. It is 5:30 in the morning. I was struggling to sleep just because my brain wouldn't shut off, those days, especially those of us with either anxiety or ADHD, especially. Look, squirrel. Anyways, first things first. I want to discuss something with y'all, and it goes a little bit like this. So, and I'm talking from what I've experienced, what I've learned about myself just genuinely in the last month and a half. Maybe a little bit more. A little bit longer than that, actually. But I'm using a month and a half because or at least the last couple of weeks, where I've noticed things starting to settle down with me. So I have anxiety issues, extreme anxiety issues. And once something, sometimes I don't always know what causes it. And I think that's how a lot of us are, right? And I think that the biggest thing we can do when we notice that our anxiety is high is get down to the root cause. But that's easier said than done, right? It's not as easy to do as some people out there might think that it is. So what I did to start trying to figure out what was causing mine was I started to journal every thought, especially the minute that my anxiety got higher than it already was. And along that journal experience, sometimes when I would write certain things down or start to talk about things or people in that journal entry, my anxiety would get 10 times higher. Sometimes I would have to take medication to calm myself down because those anxiety attacks would turn into panic attacks. And I noticed that would happen when I would start thinking about someone specific. Or something specific. And then following the high anxiety when it started, and it only got worse, right? Like the anxiety only got higher and higher each day. Some days I could keep it at bay, but very seldom. And at that point, like, nothing that I did or used for my like anxiety tools were working. Like playing video games, if anything, they were making them a little bit worse. Especially if I was playing games like Rainbow Six Siege or Call of Duty, for example. But like following the anxiety, I started having issues with my stomach for days at a time, sometimes weeks at a time. And then that also followed with, the longer that my anxiety was high, the more my stomach hurt. And the more the issues became more evident, like I started bleeding from my arse end, definitely not a good thing. Which then I knew whatever it was I needed to do from that moment forward was take a hard step, which would be the result of cutting some people out of my life because I noticed that they were causing more harm than good. And then to myself, I thought, hey, Tony, you might be overthinking. So I talked myself out of doing what I needed to do for my health, physical and mental. And then I noticed when I did that, it got even worse. I knew that I got to the point where I knew if I didn't do something about it, I was going to end up sick or dead, to be honest. And I was already sick. Obviously not from like a viral thing or anything, but y'all know what I mean. Like, stress is the silent killer. If your stress is high, like do whatever you can to minimize that because it is super important, ugh, at least in my experience. And I mean experience, not my opinion, in my experience. And as I mentioned, like normally I would have things to relieve my stress, like playing my guitar or coloring or reading a book. Or doing things like journaling. Journaling is supposed to help with that kind of thing. Uh, Playing video games. But I noticed that none of it was working. Or even going out and taking photos. Like photography is a hobby of mine that I one day would like to turn into, you know, kind of like a side hustle. Maybe even something bigger one day. Who knows? Uh, so at some point that stress kind of relieved itself. But as I was like, none of the things that I had, by the way, like they weren't helping. Some of the tools that I needed, I didn't have at that time. I have them now. So I've been noticing that those are starting to help again. In a way, that stress kind of, you know, got out of the way on its own. And what I can promise you, though, is when your gut tells you something, please listen to it. Don't talk yourself out of it. Don't tell yourself you're overthinking. But typically, when there's a reason for feeling the way that you do, if you are feeling that way, something's being done. Somebody's doing something to you. Somebody's making you feel a certain way, or something in general is just going on around you. You have to take care of you always. So I noticed when the situation took their cell, like got out of the way and out of the picture, I felt like I could breathe again. I'll be honest, like you could, I've never like, I have experienced like the weight that lifts off of your shoulder, but I have never experienced it to this extent, right? It lifted up so like the weight that was weighing on my shoulders or on my back or whatever you want to call it, just on me in general, like the minute that it lifted, I feel like I became weak because I could breathe again in a good way, right? Like it wasn't a bad way, bad thing. I'm gonna do this so I can look at y'all and stay close to the mic. I don't want to cut out. But my heart rate probably dropped to a normal heart rate. Jeez, I can't speak English. And when it dropped to a normal heart rate, I kind of like freaked myself out for a minute because it's like, whoa, like what the heck just happened? Like, I feel like whatever happened, like all of a sudden I was tired. I was so exhausted. I wanted to go to bed and just kind of enjoy the fact that I was probably about to sleep like a baby for the first time in months. And it really wasn't months. It just felt like it. And I feel like when you have high anxiety and stuff like that, things can feel like they're lasting forever and they're never going to end. But I did learn that I wasn't overthinking. And feeling calm is such a scary thing when you've been stressed with high anxiety, high heart rate for weeks, even months at a time. I wish I didn't overthink. Like basically I overthought my overthinking, if that makes any sense. Or that's how I thought I was doing that. I thought that I was overthinking when I wasn't. I should have been. But cut people out, cut things out if that's what you have to do. If when you think about them or you talk about them and you are suddenly anxious and it's not in a good way, please do what is best for you, even if in the moment it hurts and it is one of the hardest things to do. I tend to have a bad habit of keeping myself in situations because I don't like hurting other people's feelings, which in the end is probably worse because of the way that I start acting. And it's not intentional. I don't intentionally start to act that way. I just, I, honestly, my way of acting is most of the time I just get real silent and I don't really speak much. Especially when something's bothering me extremely bad. Um, but whenever your gut tells you something, you have to do it, because in the end, you won't always have your support system standing right next to you. Um, and if you're like me, when I struggle at night and I can't sleep, the last thing I want to do is call and wake anybody up, right? Unless I'm dying. And if I'm not dying, there's no reason for me to wake anybody up. Uh, so in the end, like, all you have is yourself to rely on. Uh, y'all, really, in the end, all you've got is you. No matter what. Like, I feel like it is good to find outlets and things that can help you through high stress, high anxiety times when other people are out there, living their lives. uh, so, and during all of this, uh, I learned, I was trying to figure out why, like, people thought that I just didn't act this as the same person that I was, or why I wasn't doing things that I enjoyed or things that I loved to do. And so I started making like a list. So like when I go out and take photos, I create folders on a hard drive and I put them over there, and then I put them in a folder labeled whatever year we're in. So this year would be 2024. I'll name the folder, and then once I've shared those photos, of course, after editing and doing all of that, and then once I've shared those photos, I'll move them over to that folder, because obviously I don't want to get rid of them ever, because I want to see what I can do the following year, or even the following time I do some photography work. A lot of you know that I take a lot of photos of the bald knobbers. They're good friends of mine, and they allow me to do that, and they enjoy it too, because it helps them get some stuff to share. And so I like to hold on to them to see how it is I might be able to improve on, the next session's set of photos. And I also, one of these days, want to be able to put like my nature ones, for example, on a postcard, or, a canvas or something, purchase if they want to. I just don't feel like I'm good enough at it yet, which is probably just my, overthinking coming in, because honestly, I feel like I'm pretty good, but I don't know. But along those, thinking about like the things that I stopped doing, like I stopped doing my photography adventures. I even stopped eating. I was lucky if I was eating once a day, and most of the time, if I was eating that once a day, I was lucky if I could stomach what I was eating. And I knew I was losing weight, not in a healthy way. Losing weight's a good thing, but not the way that I was doing it without realizing I was doing it. And I knew that I'd know that because like I wouldn't eat all day and most of the night, and I'd try to figure out, like, why does my blood sugar feel low? Why do I feel like I'm gonna pass out? So on and so forth. And then I think about, oh, I haven't eaten anything today, or sometimes drinking anything, not even water. And water is something that I drink like it's going out of style. I stopped having like my weekly self-care days last year, and I into this year just a little bit. Last year, I'm just gonna explain what I did last year, and like basically that picked up this year minus one thing and changing the day. But every Tuesday, I would get ready to leave the house when John would get ready to head out for work. So he'll leave about 1 p.m. and I'll follow him out. First, gather my cameras, both of them. I would gather the one that I used to vlog with, and then also grab, I brought it out just so that I could show my photography camera. It's just a beginner camera. I'm in the process of saving to upgrade, but this is my photography camera setup. So, I get all that stuff together, and I head out for the day. I pick a place to go out and eat, and I vlog most of this along the way or throughout the day. And I take that back. I would go to the gym if I hadn't already been early in the morning, because me and my brother used to have this routine to hold each other accountable, something we need to get back to doing, by the way. But anyways, every Tuesday I would leave with John. I'd go to the gym and I'd get cleaned up after the gym, and I'd pick somewhere to go and eat, uh, somewhere where I could get, something with high protein and not something that was gonna kill my macros for the day. Uh, and then from there, I would pick a place, while I'm eating. I'll sit and, vlog, uh, talk about like what I'm gonna do, or maybe give you guys some updates in life. Uh, and then head out to a place, to find a place where I can go take nature photos, or even just, see some cool things along the strip that I might stop and take photos of. Like, for example, the Ferris wheel, or theaters even. So, uh, all of that stuff I quit doing. That was my Tuesday routine. After the photos, I would go to the Bald Knobbers nighttime show, and I would take photos, snap photos throughout their show that night. And then I would come home and I would feel like a brand new person. I'd take a shower, take my night meds or my bedtime meds, and then go to bed. Feeling great. I'd be able to sleep like a baby. Those are the things that I didn't realize that I stopped doing. And in reality, I have to hold myself accountable for that, right? Because if I see an issue and I don't take care of that issue, then it's on me from that point if I'm feeling a certain way. Especially once I've come to realize, especially when you come to realize, or when I've come to realize what the cause is. And I did start out in the month of March, into some of April doing this, but I switched it to Mondays, and I don't have a gym routine right now, which I'm trying to do right now. I'm trying to get used to just going for a month. My brother said ease yourself back in and just do cardio straight for a month, and then progress from there. So self-care, I have to stress that it is literally one of the most important things. And I call mine self-care days, because when I have those days, I'm catering to my mental health, my emotional health, my physical health, and just all of it. And used to be this thing Brandon would say. I don't know if he still says it. I don't always pay attention to the intro video, because normally I have it memorized. But now when I'm trying to talk about it, I don't. But he used to say that laughter can be some of the best medicine. And it really is some of the best medicine, and so is music. So if you should always take a self-care day, even if it's just, like a couple of weeks ago, I went to Arkansas because my barber decided to move states. And when I found out where he was, he's only about a half hour from me. And so I decided to, continue having him as my barber, because, well, he's the best barber I have ever had in my life. And I would rather keep him, even if I have to drive an hour away. I will, remain his customer at all times. But even if it's going to get a haircut, and I think I went maybe 2 months, month and a half or so. And you're talking about somebody who gets a haircut every other week, just because, it's one of my favorite, self-care things to do, because, my beard and my hair are some of my favorite features, other than my eyes, about myself, which is weird, because normally I don't like anything about myself on the outside. And I'm starting to. So anyways, if you get a day off from work, or you need a mental day, even use it as a self-care day. Do some things that you enjoy doing. Do some things that you've been needing to do, because I promise you, at the end of it all, you will feel great. You will feel like a brand new person, and your mood and your anxiety most of the time will go away, and your mood will go from, hey, could be the best. It might get even better than the best. Anyways, I just wanted to go ahead and share some of that with y'all, knowing from experience. Like, take care of yourselves, and if there is a situation or if there's someone that's causing you stress or anxiety, get rid of them. Because I promise that in the end, you will feel 1,000 times better. I do. Anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all. It's okay. English is my first language, but apparently I don't know how to speak it. Anyways, if y'all sat through this whole video, I appreciate it, and I hope that everybody's doing well. Love you guys. Stay beautiful and stay handsome. I'll see you guys in the next one.